Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson saying the full force of city government is going to crack down on smoking on public transit. But when asked about the federal government going a full force of federal government to flood the zone of sanctuary cities, Johnson said that he's pushing back against that. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for more Illinois in Focus Daily. And you can get the headlines in your inbox. Go to thecentersquare.com and click on newsletter, and you'll be able to sign up today. All right, so earlier this week on Monday in New York, Trump border czar Tom Homan was with DHS Secretary Kristi Noem after an ICE officer was shot off duty, but highlighting the dangers there are of non-citizen migrants in the United States who are criminals beyond just crossing the border illegally. So here's Homan saying that, hey, sanctuary cities, you didn't want ICE on your streets, but because you're not cooperating with law enforcement in the federal level by having local jails call and say, hey, we've got a non-citizen migrant here, and you can come and pick them up. We picked them up on this crime or that crime. But sanctuary jurisdictions aren't doing that in Illinois, for instance. Cook County and the city of Chicago, they have measures in place that prohibit local law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration officials. Homan said, well, that just means they're going to have to flood the zone and be in the streets.
And I'm going to work very hard for Secretary Noem to keep President Trump's promise and his commitment several weeks ago that sanctuary cities are now our priority. We're going to flood the zone. You don't want to let us into jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. You want to release him into the street, which makes it unsafe for the community, makes it unsafe for the officer, makes it unsafe for the alien. Anything can happen on a street arrest. So what we're going to do, we'll have more agents in New York City to look for that bad guy. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want, more agents in the community and more agents in the work site. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of the county jail, then we'll arrest him in the community, and we'll arrest him in the jail. And when we arrest him in the community, if he's with others that are in the country illegally, they're coming too.
You know, a lot of things can happen on the street, he said, and it's safer to arrest the criminal illegal aliens in jail where local officials are able to determine that they are here illegally and then contact ICE and come and get them. Well, Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday at an unrelated event, he was asked about Homan's comments and pushed back and said that they are not welcome in Illinois.
Well, they've been saying this since, November, December of last year. And of course, they have been attacking people in the city of Chicago. I think that if they were doing their jobs, they would do their job everywhere in the country. But again, the job being making sure people get due process. If you're in fact going to detain them, arrest them, take them away from their families, and sometimes secret them away and send them to foreign gulags. So I oppose much of what they're trying to do because, in fact, it is unconstitutional. But I'm aware that the president, that Tom Homan, have been targeting the city of Chicago in particular. And that's obviously something that when you're attacking the people who live here, who are residents here, many people who've been here for decades, paying taxes, law-abiding, raising their children, good members of their community, when you're attacking those people in my state, I don't want you here.
So the governor saying he doesn't want ICE here if they are going to be, as he said, secreting people away to, quote, gulags in foreign countries. Somebody pointing out in the live chat thought Chicago and Illinois was a welcoming state. The governor saying you're not welcome here.
That is why today I signed an executive order.
We've got Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson also, who yesterday held a news conference. And I was anticipating he was going to be asked about this, right? I was anticipating that he was going to be asked about Homan's comments. And he was, eventually. But he started out his news conference talking about trying to eradicate smoking on public transit. And he railed against smoking on public transit, saying a full force of Chicago government is going to crack down on people smoking on public transit.
That is why today I signed an executive order launching a full force of government approach to accelerate positive trends and to build a safer CTA system with a focus on creating a smoke-free public transit system. A full force of government approach to community safety citywide is resulting in historic declines in crime and violence. And we're confident that the full force of government approach will ensure a reliable, accessible, smoke-free, and safe public transit system. Public awareness and messaging campaigns to educate residents on the detrimental effects of smoking and particularly secondhand smoke, and an assessment of other resources that CDPH and DFSS could offer to discourage smoking on trains. There's nothing more excruciating and debilitating than walking onto a train and you don't feel safe and secure, not to mention you have to inhale, or not have to, but you're subject to secondhand smoke. I'm fed up with this. You know, the fact that we have families who are using public transportation day in and day out. Our young people are about to return to school, and to have families on trains and buses and can't have a reasonable, sensible, comfortable ride because someone is smoking, right? This is unacceptable. As a city, we're better than this. And so there has to be a deeper level of accountability. And when it comes to the safety and the well-being of working families in this city, I'm going to do whatever is necessary to bring the full force of government to make sure that families and riders have a comfortable ride on our transportation system.
So we'll talk about the transportation system and the funding for it later on in this show, but just to the issue of using the full force of government to crack down on people smoking on public transit in Chicago. Didn't realize it was that big of an issue, but Johnson obviously leading that open-ended news conference with the issue of an executive order to have the full force of government crack down on smoking. But when you look at the full force of government to enforce federal immigration laws, Johnson is not down with that. As you heard Pritzker say, those who are looking to, as he characterized it, harm Illinoisans aren't welcome in Illinois. And he's referring to federal immigration officials who are having to go to the streets to enforce immigration because local law enforcement are prohibited under laws that Governor Pritzker supports to prohibit law enforcement from working with federal immigration officials, meaning there's going to be more people in the streets enforcing federal immigration law. But Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says that they are going to continue to resist and not cooperate with federal immigration officials.
The city of Chicago is a welcoming city. We've been that for 40 years. Threats from the federal government at this moment, clearly we're not intimidated by this. If the President of the United States was actually sincere about his efforts to bring some understanding and clarity around immigration policy, he would actually move forward with policy. These people are just so unserious. And what makes it worse is that because they're not serious, it makes them a greater threat. But the city of Chicago will remain firm in our position as a welcoming city.
But is the city taking any steps in the event that federal agents do flood Chicago?
We're a welcoming city. Period, and point blank. We're not going to be intimidated or buckle under some threat that's coming from an individual that can hardly tie his shoes and bend over.
So the mayor's saying that the federal government's not serious, and that they're not going to be intimidated by Trump or Homan in any of this. Obviously, we'll see how the numbers turn out with Homan saying they're going to flood the zone with immigration enforcement officials. But then it got to some pretty heated Q&A. William Kelly, an independent reporter up in Chicago, credentialed member of the Chicago media, asked a question of Johnson that Johnson didn't find appropriate, and they actually kind of cut Kelly's mic off.
You have stated over and over and over again that you don't want ICE in Chicago. If that had been Stacy, if that had been your wife Stacy Spotty that had been decapitated,
right. That's not an appropriate question. Yeah.
Let's move on. Real people, the people of Chicago are asking me to ask you this very specific question. Had that been your wife, Stacy, would you want ICE to pick up this illegal alien?
I'm not going to entertain your question.
Yeah.
You're beyond.
Can we go to
me,
Chris?
sirs.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
In fact, I actually believe that what you're saying is quite threatening. It is
Yeah.
quite threatening. Can we move on to the next person here?
Excuse me, but no,
And if you continue to behave in such a way, we'll just make sure that we take the appropriate steps. You are threatening and provocative.
this is a question that the real people.
No, this isn't a.
So interesting to watch that exchange play out yesterday as Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson was fielding questions from members of the media. We'll continue to monitor this and bring you it each and every weekday morning here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning for more Illinois in Focus Daily.